All right, welcome to day 3 of second quarter geometry. Here is your joke for the day. Why does everyone love Frosty the Snowman? Because he's cool. So today, these are the supplies you're going to need. You're going to need your geometry notes from your binder. You're going to need an ornament paper. You're going to need this symmetry page. And you're going to need your exit ticket, which is these 2 pages, and the gingerbread symmetry, some colors, and a ruler. If you don't have access to a ruler, don't get too hung up on that. You can do the activities without a ruler. All right, so here are today's goals. For GM6, I can identify and or draw lines of symmetry for 2D figures. Our success criteria is I can identify lines of symmetry for 2D figures, and I can draw lines of symmetry for 2D figures. So I want you to go ahead and take a look at these triangles and just notice and wonder about them. What do you see that's the same about them? And what do you see that's different? Go ahead and take a minute. Okay, so here are some things you might have noticed about these triangles. You may have noticed that this one has a right angle. You may have noticed that this one has just kind of the look of a typical triangle, what you would expect or what you would draw if someone says, draw me a triangle. And you might have noticed that this one's kind of wide looking. So these types of triangles actually all have names. So we're going to write these names in our notes. So this first one is called an obtuse triangle. So that's going to be the name. And then the definition is a triangle with one obtuse angle. And here's a picture of it. So as you can see, here's the obtuse angle. And then the other 2 angles are acute, but it has one obtuse angle. Okay, next, this triangle is called an acute triangle. And this is a triangle with 3 acute angles. So 1, 2, 3. So go ahead and put that one in your notes. And finally, we have a right triangle. A right triangle is a triangle with one right angle. As you can see, the angle is indicated by the square in the corner. The right angle is. So those are your 3 types of triangles. Make sure you've taken notes on those before you move on to the next part. And now we're going to apply some things about them. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to get to make a triangular ornament, okay? So this is when you're going to need that ornament paper, a ruler if you have access to it, and your colors. So what you're going to get to do is you're going to draw one acute triangle, one right triangle, and one obtuse triangle inside your ornament, okay? Now, it's okay if they overlap. They're actually probably going to need to. And so, for example, here is the acute triangle. Here is the right triangle. And here is the obtuse triangle. And the directions say that we want all vertices to lie on the edge of the ornament. So as you can see, all of the points of the triangle actually touch the edges of the ornament. And that's what we want. We want all of the edges of the ornament to be touched by a vertice of a triangle. So once you draw those and those overlap, you've got all these little different spaces that you can use to draw in different patterns and colors. So you can see some examples here. These students use different colors. This student put different patterns. There's all different things you can do. So we're going to let you take some time to have some fun with that, but we're only going to spend 15 minutes on it because we have more things in the lesson that we need to do. So go ahead, take this next 15 minutes, make sure your ornament meets these requirements, and go ahead and enjoy making that ornament. All right, so the next part is going to be regarding to the idea of symmetry. So on this slide, we see that Lynn has pieces of paper in different shapes. She folds each piece of paper once, creating 2 smaller parts. She then sorts the pieces into 2 categories based on the folding lines. In this category, she has the folding line is a line of symmetry. And in this category, she says the folding line is not a line of symmetry. So I want you to study the figures in each category. What do you think a line of symmetry means? And then you're going to write this sentence down just somewhere. a line of symmetry is, and go ahead and write what you think a line of symmetry is based off of these shapes and the lines she drew. Okay, so let's take a look now at these shapes. You may have noticed that all of these shapes here, that if we folded these in half, they would match up perfectly. These two corners, this C, this plus shape, this triangle. And you may have also noticed that these, if we folded on these lines, they wouldn't line up perfectly. This side is way bigger, is way smaller actually than this side. This tops of these ends don't match. These 2 points don't match where they'd line up. So based off that, we can come to the conclusion that a line of symmetry is a line on a figure that when you fold on it, both halves of the shape are equal. They will line up exactly on each other and they're exactly the same. So if you messed up on your definition, let's go ahead and fix that. So a line of symmetry is a line on a figure that allows you to fold the figure into 2 equal parts. All right, now this next page you actually have a copy of, so go ahead and pull that out. And I want you to take a minute and see if you can figure out if the following figures have a line of symmetry. If so, draw the line. If not, explain how you know. So you can just write little notes off to the side that explain how you know that there's not a line of symmetry. I'll go ahead and give you a second to do that, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so let's go ahead, and before we go over it, I do want you to do one more thing actually. Let's look at number 3. Are there any figures with more than one line of symmetry? If you think so, draw all the lines of symmetry. So I'm going to pause another second and let you draw all the lines of symmetry on the ones that you think might have more than one line. Okay, now that you've done that, let's go ahead and go over this together. So shape A. Hopefully you found this line of symmetry. Now, be aware my lines may not be perfect. It's a little hard to put these on a computer, but you should have found a line of symmetry on A. And this is actually an acute triangle. All right, in B, you should have been able to divide the heart in half. C, this one was a little tricky, but this actually does fold into 2 equal halves. It's a right triangle. D can fold in half this way, and bonus, it has 2 lines of symmetry. E does not have any lines of symmetry, and F has not 1, but 2, and actually I forgot 2 more, 3 and 4 lines of symmetry. So there should be a line of symmetry going this way and a line of symmetry going that way. So that one actually has 4 lines of symmetry. Okay, so whenever you would fold these shapes on these lines that we've drawn, they would be 2 exact copies of each other. They would both look exactly the same. All right, so now that we've done some practice, you are ready for your exit ticket. So this first page is called mirror image. You're going to draw the other half. So this is a little bit challenging. You're going to have to really pay attention to the picture and do your best to make sure that you make a symmetrical half of the picture that's already there. And then this one, all you have to do is write acute, obtuse, or right beside each triangle to identify the type of triangle it is. And finally, if you need more to do, the gingerbread symmetry is also available, and it is very similar to this mirror image sheet as well. Okay, so just a reminder of what we worked on. I'll go back to the front for you. So our goals today, this was for GM6, and we said that I can identify and or draw lines of symmetry for 2D figures. Think about if you can do these things. Can you identify lines of symmetry for 2D figures? And can you draw lines of symmetry for 2D figures? I hope you can now. And I hope you also have a good understanding of identifying triangles by their angles. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed today's lesson.